Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
A very good Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for starting your week with us here on the Noon News. I'm Samantha Sullivan. President Trump is not backing down from his threat to force a partial government shutdown if Congress does not approve a $5 billion for his border wall. Without a deal, the shutdown would go into effect at midnight on Friday. Nicole Killian has the latest from Capitol Hill.
President Trump kept the pressure up on Democrats Monday morning to fund his border wall with Mexico, tweeting, "Anytime you hear a Democrat saying that you can have good border security without a wall, write them off as just another politician following the party line."
We're going to do whatever is necessary to build the border wall.
The tweet comes a day after White House senior advisor Stephen Miller doubled down on the president's threat to shut down the government Friday at midnight if Congress doesn't come through with the money.
And that means
this is a very, if it comes to it, absolutely. This is a very fundamental issue.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi have proposed $1.6 billion for border security to use for fencing upgrades, but no more.
All he's going to get with his temper tantrum is a shutdown. He will not get a wall.
The president does not currently have the votes in Congress to get $5 billion, and there won't be a lot of time to reach a deal. The House is on an extended break, returning Wednesday night. If the partial shutdown happens, more than 420,000 federal employees, including 41,000 law enforcement officials and up to 88% of the Homeland Security Department staff would be working without pay during the holiday season. And an additional 380,000 federal workers would be furloughed. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, in past shutdowns, up to a third of national parks have closed and had to turn people away, which means if the government does shut down, it could affect Yellowstone National Park's winter season. The rules during a shutdown are a bit complicated, though. According to the Department of the Interior, most of the calls about keeping parks open are left to the park superintendents, and Yellowstone has a brand new park superintendent. An Interior document says if the government shuts down, parks will have to notify the public that visitor services, including restrooms, trash collection facilities, and road maintenance, will all cease. Park staff will then have just hours to wrap up their work and go on furlough, with a few exceptions based on public safety and law enforcement. Park roads, lookouts, trails, and the like will remain accessible so long as it is safe, but any facility that generally closes at night will be closed for the duration of the shutdown. It is important to note the gate at the north entrance of the park will stay open no matter what happens, because it's the only way for residents of Silvergate and Cook City to get in and out of the area. In other news this afternoon, a man who led authorities on a pursuit Monday morning was eventually stopped by an armed homeowner in Missoula. It began when police were alerted to be on the lookout for a stolen vehicle in the area. The vehicle was spotted shortly after 8 a.m. near Mullen Road. The sheriff's deputy attempted to pull the vehicle over. The vehicle pulled to the side of the road, but after refusing to follow the deputy's commands, he sped away. The suspect then drove through a construction site, through several fields and fences, before coming to a stop on Haven Heights. He then fled on foot to a nearby home. The sheriff's office says the homeowner saw the police activity and armed himself before the suspect came into his home. When the suspect did enter, the homeowner held him at gunpoint until officers arrived. The man was arrested and taken to jail. In Kalispell, a young girl is recovering after being hit by a vehicle this morning. Montana Highway Patrol Trooper James Hawkins tells MTN News it happened around 17 this morning on 3 Mile Drive. The girl was hit as she was running across the road. She was taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A 27-year-old Butte woman who was reported missing over the weekend was found dead early Monday morning. Butte police discovered the woman, who had died in a rollover crash, around 2:30 this morning in Blacktail Creek. Police suspect the woman lost control of her vehicle and drove off the right side of the highway. The victim's family reported her missing on Sunday. She was last seen around 11 o'clock Friday night driving away from a relative's home in Pipestone. The victim was not wearing a seatbelt. And one man is dead after a single vehicle crash just after midnight on Saturday. The 22-year-old Lodgegrass man left the road for unknown reasons before vaulting over an intersection. Montana Highway Patrol says the vehicle was airborne for about 130 feet before landing on its top. The man, whose name has not yet been released, died at the scene. He was not wearing a seatbelt. MHP said alcohol and speed are suspected factors in that crash. And now we'll turn things over to Ed in the Weather Center. Ed, some people are dreaming of a white Christmas, but it might just be a dream at this point.
It could be, especially for portions of our region. Let's go ahead and take a look. Nationally, this is how the map sets up historically in the areas where we're most likely to see a white Christmas. And you can see especially in western Montana, but a 50+ chance of a white Christmas across Montana and through northern Wyoming. But so far this year, thanks to our dry conditions, we're looking at only a slight chance of a white Christmas. That's an inch of snow or more on the ground on Christmas morning across the eastern plains. A much better chance in areas west of the Continental Divide. And as far as the chances of us picking up fresh snow on Christmas Day, those chances look pretty limited to the higher elevations. Take a look at the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Ed. Well, we expect to learn more about downtown Billings' One Big Sky project later today. The project's final plans will be unveiled during tonight's City Council meeting. Back in October, the developer Bob Dunn, president of a Wisconsin-based Hamas company, presented an analysis during a council work session and said Billings has proven itself as an established destination and profitable area. In his presentation, Dunn showed 3 main points of the development: moving forward, building a destination, diversifying operations, and leveraging the Montana experience. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on the Noon News. Coming up, Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke resigning amid ethics investigations. We'll have the latest on that when we come back. But first, Ed's in with a full forecast to get the week started. Stay with us.
You're watching MTN News with Samantha Sullivan. Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Ag Network. This is the Noon News on Q2, Montana's news leader.